Where's he going? Okay, let's get into the news. There's a bit of it. Oh my goodness, it's all going on. Chuck Costello said breaking report, bombshell lawsuit claims Justice Department is concealing 400 pages of sensitive documents exposing payoffs and gifts to Hunter and Jim Biden from China, Russia and Ukraine. Here's a good one for the show. J. Rob from MN. Follow him, you'll thank me later. Okay. Once again, media silent. There is one thing I noticed. Where is it? Oh, I'll get to it in a minute. Ian Miles Chong said she deleted this tweet. I wonder why. Oh, we've got the virtuous Ukrainian flag in there and hearts in the Ukrainian colours. It's Dr. Natalia, whatever her name is. I'll never regret the vaccine, even if it turns out I injected actual poison and have only days to live. My heart is and was in the right place. I got vaccinated out of love, while anti-vaxxers did everything out of hate. If I have to die because of my love for the world, then so be it, but I will never regret or apologise for it. Well, good for you, love. Seriously. If you have to die because you love the... Look, that's not love for the world. That's assisting genocide? I don't know. I'm just asking, you know. That's what it seems to me, because most of these people would have pushed the bloody thing. Then we got Johnny Midnight saying, chemtrails being dumped on us, this can't be good. Look, if any of these things last for more than a couple of seconds in the sky, it is not a contrail. That's a contrail. When it only lasts for a couple of seconds, it's moisture. But when these things spread out across the sky, they've been known to carry barium, aluminium, strontium, red blood cells. Lots of different things are being sprayed out of these things. So always question and look up and look around you and see if these things last. And sometimes they produce clouds. They've also done it with silver iodine, I believe. But yeah, this is not a contrail because it's not disappearing. This is a chemtrail because it stays and then it starts to make those things in the background. See these smudgy things? That's what that creates. It's a haze. This haze here. These things create these hazes here. So when you see skies like this, they're not natural.
This is water vapor. Yes.
Look at it. That's dirty.
Look at this.
I don't even know if you just heard me then. I'm going to have to go back and check that. Because I was just talking all the way through this. Okay, I did go back and check, and you can hear me. I just realised the sound came on while I was trying to describe this to you. But yeah, this is really dirty. Really, really dirty. And when they try and tell you that nature is causing climate change to fight back against us, this is what's causing it, if anything. And they can manipulate these particles as well to do other things. And that's, I believe, what they use HARP for. They do the chemtrails, they can use HARP. They can also use this as a screen to do Project Bluebeam on. So that could be why they're doing this. Oh dear God, we are all going to need some health. We're all going to need some help with our health after this. Tracy Bean said, could it have something to do with this? I don't know who is she replying to someone? No. Okay. The Daily Mail said, exclusive, Justice Department is concealing 400 pages of sensitive documents laying bare payoffs and gifts to Hunter and Jim Biden from China, Russia and Ukraine. After acknowledging the papers exist, lawyer claims in a suit. Okay, look at this Biden here. This looks nothing like the man we see now. Oh no, is that Jim Biden? That's Jim, his brother. Geez, they look alike, don't they? I remember now, because people were thinking at one point Jim was playing Joe as Joe Biden. I don't know. But that was confusing for a minute there. I thought that was supposed to be Joe Biden. Okay, got that right. Sorted myself out, don't mind me. And there's a thunderstorm going on in the background, just in case you hear a lot of banging. Tim Young said the only reason Ray Epps wouldn't have been arrested after all the videos and admitting he orchestrated it is because he's a Fed. That's what we think. We all think that. And including the people that yelled out on the day when he said, "We've got to go into the Capitol." And all the people were yelling, "Fed, Fed, 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 Fed." That's because that's what people think he is. Okay, allegedly, don't come for me, YouTube. The Gateway Pundit just in, Carrie Lake files petition to transfer historic challenge of this thing here directly to Arizona Supreme Court, filing included. Now, I'm not going to read it, but yeah, that's some pretty good news too. Conservative brief said judge orders Biden admin to hand over communications with tech companies. Here we go. Is this why YouTube seems to have relaxed some of the rules? I don't know. You seem to be able to talk about a little bit more than you could before. Conservative brief said judge orders Biden admin to hand over communication with tech companies. A federal judge ordered the Biden admin to hand over communication documents between the federal government and big tech companies. U.S. District Court Judge Terry Doherty of the Western District of Louisiana granted the order of discovery sought by Republican attorneys General Eric Schmidt of Missouri and Jeff Landry of Louisiana. President Joe Biden, members of his administration, and select social media companies must turn over documents and answer questions within the next 30 days during a discovery phase of a lawsuit alleging collusion to suppress freedom of speech, a court ruled. The attorneys general of Louisiana and Missouri filed a lawsuit in May alleging Biden and 8 high-ranking members of his administration and the government colluded with and or coerced social media companies, Meta, Twitter, and YouTube to suppress disaffavoured speakers, viewpoints, and content on social media platforms. Can I have my channel back now? Because everything I said that they chucked me off for, I was right. Terry Doherty, judge in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Louisiana, ruled there's good cause for the discovery process and set a timetable, including specific deadlines for depositions. In May, Missouri and Louisiana filed a landmark lawsuit against top-ranking Biden admin officials for allegedly colluding with social media giants to suppress freedom of speech on a number of topics, including the origins of COVID, the efficacy of masks, and election integrity. Missouri Republican Senate candidate and current Attorney General Eric Schmidt said, "Today the court granted our motion for discovery, paving the way for my office to gather important documents to get to the bottom of that alleged collusion. This is a huge development." The lawsuit alleges that social media companies labelled information as misinformation and disinformation in violation of the First Amendment, and that the federal government went beyond its authority. The Department of Health and Human Services and Department of Homeland Security violated the Administrative Procedure Act. When Republicans take control of the US House in January, lawmakers have already vowed to zero in on the Biden admin's cozy relationship with big tech. Let's go Brandon, eh? Let's get it. Let's go get him. Ohio Republican Rep Jim Jordan sent letters to CEOs from Apple, Amazon, Google, parent Alphabet, Facebook parent Meta, and Microsoft, accusing them of being an arm of the Biden admin's woke speech police. Big tech is out to get conservatives, and it's increasingly willing to undermine First Amendment values by complying with the Biden admin's directives that suppress freedom of speech online, Jordan wrote. This approach undermines fundamental American principles and allows powerful government actors to silence political opponents and stifle opposing viewpoints. Yes. Jordan insisted that the tech giants hand over documents and communications between their employees and any individual affiliated with the executive branch, dating back to January 2020, pursuant to the committee's probe into the Biden administration's collusion with big tech to censor, silence, or reduce the reach of certain information and viewpoints. Republicans on the House Oversight Committee also sent letters to Twitter owner Elon Musk and Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg requesting documents and communications from the platform to assist in an ongoing probe, to uncover any unconstitutional actions by government officials or agents working on their behalf. Despite these clear constitutional limits on government action, reports continue to surface that government officials and agencies have conducted censorship campaigns involving social media platforms. Whether working through the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, or other agencies, government officials should not tip the scale by urging social media platforms to disallow certain speech, they wrote in a letter. The bedrock principle of our democracy is free speech. The House Oversight Committee lawmakers wrote, the government, in concert with social media, should not tell Americans what they can and cannot say online. And you can just ask me, no government on earth should be allowed to police what their citizens can say. Republicans are also furious with the most recent Twitter files released by CEO Elon Musk and vowed to take action after it was shown that the FBI was involved in, to an extent, flagging content and sending it to Twitter executives to review. So was the CIA. The FBI responded to Fox News by defending itself and saying that it has organised with private businesses in the past. Whoop-de-doo. They shouldn't be allowed to do it. Farmers Feed You, I'm back, said, okay, you farming drone owners, could I use a drone to watch as I load a truck with grain instead of getting up and down all the time and trying not to spill any, but get the truck chock-a-block full? I just shared that because the bloke wanted help, so I'm just putting it out there. This is Joe Biden fixing the country. Okay, you ready?
Oh, it's going to be right there. You cannot stick it in the ground. It's not going to work. Who did that? You got to put it in the shoe.
Oh dear. Oh, I think my internet went out. My internet's gone out. Okay, I'm still recording, but my internet is actually out after that big bang. I'm going to pause it for a few minutes. I'll come back, hopefully. It'll be working. I will be back. Okay, let's try that again. I think it's reset itself. Let's have a look. This is Joe Biden's America, okay? Fixing America. Let's make it big.
You cannot stick it in the ground. It's not going to work. Who did that? You got to put it in the shoe.
Oh, not again. Ah, bloody internet. Oh dear. I'll be back. Okay, guys. Sorry about that. Well, you won't notice any difference, really. For me, it's just been an hour. The storm went through, the internet went out, so... Okay, let's have a look at Biden's America. Hopefully, we can get through it this time. Yep, that pretty much explains Joe Biden's America. Why can't I exit full screen now? Okay, give me a sec, guys. Okay, had no idea why that happened, but anyway, strange things going on here. Dinesh D'Souza said this could be big. GOP rep Matt Gaetz will be de facto House Speaker after what? Former top Trump advisor Steve Bannon noted on his Real America Voice podcast on Friday that Freedom Caucus member Rep. Matt Gaetz will serve as the de facto Speaker of the House, despite the fact that Republicans are likely going to elect current House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy to serve in that role officially. His prediction came after McCarthy offered some key concessions to other members of the caucus who'd been critical of his speakership. CNN reported, as cited by Newsweek, the cable outlet quoted unnamed Republican sources, be careful with that, who said they were familiar with talks between McCarthy and conservative Republicans. In a phone interview on Saturday, Bannon told Newsweek that there is no chance that Gaetz would be elected House Speaker. However, Gaetz maybe. However, he said that Florida Republican and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Georgia Republican, together will be the de facto speakers, or the speaker in fact, but not in actuality, of the House. McCarthy, a California Republican, has conceded to reducing the threshold needed to push for a floor vote, known as the motion to vacate, by members to remove a sitting speaker. The House GOP leader hopes that this move will help him gain support from his critics. Members of the House Freedom Caucus have long been pushing for that concession, which would weaken McCarthy's standing if he does become Speaker, according to Politico. During talks with Conservative members, CNN noted McCarthy... Oh, I don't trust CNN. McCarthy appeared to be open to a 5-member threshold. Now the House Republican majority will likely call for a motion to vacate the Speaker's chair, with some Conservatives asking for a single House member to be able to force a vote. Moderate Republicans may view the 5-person threshold as being too low, though, and may even lean towards raising it to 50 members. However, Freedom Caucus members, including Getz and Rep. Ralph Norman, think the 5-person limit is too high, Newsweek noted. While Getz has further... Oh, I can't get over that. Has thus far withheld his support for McCarthy, Greene, an ally of his, has said she will vote to support him as Speaker after winning some concessions. Analysts believe her pledge's support will likely help her to have more influence over the Chamber's priorities and direction under GOP leadership. During his interview with Newsweek, Bannon details some of the reasons why McCarthy is taking heat from some GOP members. The issue with Kevin is not that people don't like him. Kevin is very well liked. It has nothing to do with that, Bannon said. It has to do with, really, what does the Republican Party stand for? What does MAGA stand for, and how are we going to sort this situation out? He went on to say that one of the biggest criticisms of McCarthy is that it's not clear what he stands for. Over the past 72 hours, people are saying, well, hold it, this guy's prepared to give away things he never said he would, Bannon said, adding that McCarthy under no circumstances will ever take speakership, while having to do it by giving up motion to vacate, because he would never really have the freedom to do what he wants to do. He also suggested that the battle over the speakership is a proxy war between corporatist side of GOP and the populist face of MAGA, or the Make America Great Again side, popularised by DJT's first presidential campaign. That's what this fight is about, he said, and it's exemplified by obviously the hard right versus the corporate wing of the party. That said, a group of McCarthy colleagues has vowed to only vote for him. The Main Street Caucus Chair, South Dakota Republican Rep. Dusty Johnson, and Vice Chair Rep. Stephanie Bice of Oklahoma sent correspondence saying that the dozens of members of the caucus would only vote for Rep. McCarthy. Yesterday, Republican Main Street Caucus members met to discuss priorities for the upcoming votes on the House rules package and the election of a Speaker of the House. During that meeting, a strong consensus developed in several years, they said. As a group of more than 70 members committed to finding practical conservative solutions, we believe these priorities will ensure the Republican conference hits the ground running on day one of the new Congress. America elected a Republican majority to provide a check and balance on the administration and to find solutions to the problems our nation is facing. We can't do that if we don't elect a Speaker on January 3rd, it said. It's currently January the 3rd here in Australia. Okay, so that'll be tomorrow for you guys. Okay, apparently Pope Benedict is dead. You remember the Pope Benedict? Oh, look who I shared. Baphomet. Great. With the upside down. Oh my goodness. Anyway, for those that are mourning over the death of Pope Benedict, stop. This is what he did for a living before the leader of the Catholic Church. A dead Nazi is a cause for oh, what? His name, and I checked this out, it's true. Joseph Aloy Ratzinger, his name was. And his allegiance was to Nazi Germany. His service branch was the, I can't even say that, I'm so sorry. Battles and Wars, World War II. Years of service from 43 to 45. Anywho, I don't know, just saying. In 2008, before it, oh yeah, at which point did you realise it was all a lie? I said 2008, I'm a dickhead. Anyway, I said 2008, before it even came about. I've been a conspiracy theorist for a lot of years. We knew that they would be trying this after Ebola, Zika, and other virus scares that they were trying to create to get people to take shots for. Okay, and the facts said, so Mr. Pope, this begs the question, who's in charge, nature or the God of nature? Now, this is a different Pope. This is Pope Francis, okay? The other one was Pope Benedict. Remember the evil-looking one with the really dark eyes? That's who Pope Benedict was. I don't know if you remember him. Hang on. Let me just show you to make sure you know who I'm talking about. Wow, my typing's slowing down. Okay. Images. You remember this guy? Remember? One with a really dark look. He was the one who slapped people's hands away from him when he was supposedly greeting the crowd of people. One lady sort of put a hand on his arm and he was slapping her hand and... yeah! Anyway. This is a different one. Okay, so Pope Francis has exposed his New Age foundation as he stated that the refusal of nations to start action on climate change produced COVID. Pope Francis says he believed the Chinese virus is certainly nature's response to humanity's failure to address the partial catastrophes wrought by human-induced climate change. Okay, this is insane. This is from Breitbart. Asked by British journalist Austin Ivory whether the COVID crisis is an opportunity for ecological conversion, the pontiff reasserted his belief that humanity has provoked nature by not responding adequately to the climate crisis. Really? They create the crisis. They wait for a reaction. And they've always got the solution, which is communism, apparently. I don't know. That's just what it seems like to me. There's an expression in Spanish, God always forgives, we forgive sometimes, but nature never forgives. Francis said in the interview published Wednesday, we did not respond to the partial catastrophes. Who now speaks of the fires in Australia, or who remembers that a year and a half ago a boat could cross the North Pole because the glaciers had all melted? Who speaks now of the floods? I don't know where he's been, but we speak of the fires, and they were set, okay? Climate activists, mostly. Bloody idiots. See, they create the problem. Okay, this is problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem. They wait for the public's reaction, and they've always got a solution, which is always more rules. And less freedom for the public. Okay, he said, I don't know if it's nature's revenge, but it's certainly nature's... No, it's not nature's response when you're going and doing it. Every crisis, okay, don't let a good crisis go to waste. Every crisis contains both danger and opportunity. There you go, opportunity. The opportunity to move out from the danger, he said. Today, I believe we have to slow down our rate of production and consumption and to learn to understand and contemplate the natural world. Yeah, we'd like to do that, you know, to an extent, but you can't drive everyone off the land and expect them to... The logic's just not there. And they try, and because of the climate, they want to get rid of the cattle, and eventually, even the vegans, don't worry, there will be not enough room to grow your vegetables, so yeah, that'll go too. And then we'll be eating bugs and God knows what else, probably human meat from celebrities maybe. Oh dear me. You might be feeding yourself with your own biopsies. Not to be confused with an autopsy. I remember a friend of mine once rang up and asked about her autopsy when she actually meant the biopsy results. But anyway, okay, this is ridiculous, and I really don't feel like reading anymore in case you haven't noticed, but because it's just ridiculous. Really ridiculous, okay? So I'm not going to read any more of this because it's absolute crap. Okay, hang on, but I'm in a thread here. Hang on, I'm in a thread. Pope Francis said he believes the Chinese coronavirus pandemic is nature's response to humanity's failure to address the partial catastrophes, blah, blah. I think I just read nearly the whole thing. And it is an opportunity, okay, for them. Has provoked nature by not responding adequately to the climate crisis. There's an expression, yeah, well, I read that. Also read that. Okay, and the opportunity, again, the opportunity. In every crisis, there's an opportunity for these people. The Pope insists that the coronavirus pandemic is nature's cry for humans to take better care of creation. Asked whether the man-made COVID pandemic is nature's way of taking revenge on humanity, the pontiff suggested that nature is calling for attention. How? See, they create the problem, they wait for the public reaction, and they come up with solutions that are always taking our freedoms away. Fires, earthquakes, nature's throwing a tantrum so that we'll take care of her, he said. Yeah, they can also cause them. They can even cause volcanoes to erupt with HAARP, I believe. Okay, that's my belief. You have to look more into that and always do your own research. But I'm telling you that HAARP does more than we think it does. And I believe they've actually improved on that technology and probably use satellites now and lasers, God knows. I don't know, I'm not right up on the technology now, but I'm sure they've developed a way. The Pope said that natural disasters such as a massive storm that struck northern Italy in the fall of 2018 are nature's way of sounding an alarm to make us more environmentally engaged. These are events that frighten us, Francis says. They might frighten him. They are alarm signals that creation sends us, which summon us to immediately take effective decisions to safeguard our common home. In 2015, Francis became the first pope in history to devote an entire encyclical letter to the issue of care for the environment, in which he decried human exploitation of nature. The earth now cries out to us because of the harm we've inflicted on her by our irresponsible use and abuse of the goods with which God has endowed her, Francis wrote. We have come to see ourselves as her lords. No, that wouldn't be us personally. That would be the corporations that mainly do all this, okay? They're the ones that rape and pillage land. The people don't necessarily do that. In fact, the people will become more creative and start inventing stuff if left to their own devices. Okay. See ourselves as lord and masters, entitled to plunder her at will. No, that's corporations again. The violence presents in our heart, wounded by sin, is also reflected in the symptom of sickness, evident in the soil, in the water, in the air, and in all forms of life. Now, faced as we are with global environmental deterioration, I wish to address every person living on this planet, the Pope continued, comparing the ecological crisis to the nuclear crisis of the Cold War era. Francis has also tended to personalise nature, suggesting that it cries out when it's mistreated. Situations such as loss of biodiversity and economic inequality have caused Sister Earth, along with the abandon of our world, to cry out, pleading that we take another course, he wrote. Okay, well, again, it's mainly corporations and governments that do all this and allow more and more development of the land. Never have we so hurt and mistreated our common home as we have in the last 200 years. Since then, the Pope has become one of the most vocal opponents of global warming, urging drastic measures. It's not an opponent, he's a vocal advocate for global warming, urging drastic measures to combat a climate emergency that gravely threatens nature and life itself. Too many of us act like tyrants with no regard to creation, he declared. Let us make an effort to change and adopt more simple and respectful lifestyles. Is he including himself? Now is the time to abandon our dependence on fossil fuels, he says, and move quickly and decisively towards forms of clean energy and a sustainable and circular economy. Let us also learn to listen to Indigenous peoples, whose age-old wisdom can teach us how to live in a better relationship with the environment, he said. Francis has also scolded political leaders for their half-hearted response to the climate crisis, suggesting that their weak resolve in cutting emissions reveals a lack of political will. Yeah, that's what this is. Political, I don't know, hit you over the head authoritarianism? Something like that, anyway. The 3 Mile Times says most folks in Australia are sleeping right now, as they should be at 12:10 a.m. But I'm watching this wondering what it's doing. Chemtrailing. Again, like you saw before, from the plane. It's what they do. They even got little ones. Well, what they're doing, some grid pattern thing. It's not one of those Google bloody things, is it? That do the, what do you call it? You know, no, that's satellites, isn't it? Oh, I've got no idea. Orlando said manufactured in China using coal and slave labour, purchased in Australia using taxpayer subsidies and then powered by coal. So green. Chinese automakers launch into Australia with lower cost EVs as local uptake is about to accelerate. Why? Because they're going to try and rise the price of petrol again. It's already up there. Don't buy them, guys. Dangerous. Look, when Chinese stuff falls apart quicker than anything else, right? I wouldn't be buying Chinese electric vehicles when the other electric vehicles are catching on fire. I wouldn't be doing that. Rage Against the Vaccine said, I'm really struggling. Hospital aren't giving me my blood thinners, pain in the back of my head and head spinning as soon as I lay back. I need help. Anyone near Manchester that can help, please contact Fiona at covileaks.co.uk. This man seems to be in a bit of trouble. I can't hear him. Hang on, he's in hospital. Hang on.
Pain in my neck, my head's just spinning. I've gone to the toilet 30 times, I've got chest pain. I've asked them for my 3 blood thinners because I've got thrombolytic vasculitis, vascular neuropathy, and they think I've got thrombocytopenia. Well, that's what my consultant says at Wivenshaw. I've asked them here, I had my blood thinners for 2 days, sorry. They won't give them to me. They're trying to send me home, I'm not well enough to go home, I can't look after myself. So dizzy, I don't know what to do.
I think he's been injured by the, you know what, the poor guy. Okay, Australian versus the agenda said an instant classic. The one-time outgoing New South Wales Health Minister Brad Hazzard said, unfortunately, dancing and singing are the most dangerous things you can do with this rather evil virus. Remember that, anyone? Do you want to hear it again?
But I have heard reports of, at some weddings, people have chosen to ignore the limit of 20 people dancing, the bridal party and whoever are acknowledged as being in the bridal party, and an expectation that they can all get up there and dance. Unfortunately, dancing, singing is amongst the most dangerous things you can do with this rather evil virus.
No having fun whatsoever. You're not allowed, right? And the virus knows whether you got 20 people on the dance floor or 30. It just knows. It's so smart. How does anyone believe this crap?
But if you actually choose to ignore the rules and you put your fellow visitors, fellow attendees at the wedding at risk, that is just completely and woefully inappropriate.
Yeah, because they want full authoritarian control to be able to tell you what to do in your own home, or at your own wedding, or funeral, or anywhere for that matter.
It also is not fair to the proprietors of those businesses when you actually jump up and just dance and allow the business to be exposed to the possibility of a fine.
Honestly, I don't think the businesses care other than the fines, to be honest. That's what they're worried about, getting a fine. They shouldn't, because look what happened. All the COVID fines were reimbursed to the people.
It's clear that that is not acceptable. People must understand we all want you to have a wonderful wedding. We all want to have fantastic weddings. But for the time being in a COVID environment, dancing will be limited to 20 people.
Yeah, that's just a load of utter BS, sorry. Lorelli said this rather insightful man wants people to be honest about the real reason behind pronouncing pronouns, okay? Listen to this.
Rest, so that I can speak to you respectfully. But we're both quite clever, you and I, and we know that that's really not what's happening, is it? You see, when I address you, when I speak to you, I use something in grammar called second-person pronouns. I'm the speaker, the first person, and you are the second person. And when I'm speaking to a second person, what I do is I use the pronouns you, your, yours, and so on. So I'll say, hi, how are you? How was your day? Is that your car over there? Right? It would be really strange if I somehow managed to slip in a he or a she. Hello, how is she? We don't do that. It sounds completely wrong. When I'm talking to you, the second person, about a third person who's not here, or if I'm just thinking about that third person, then I'll use the third person pronouns. Those are the ones like he, she, hers, his, etc. So his name is John. She's not a very nice person. That's his car. That's her house, you know, and so on. And the difference is quite clear. So when you, quite uninvited, declare your pronouns to me, in spite of what you might say, you are not telling me how to address you. You are not telling me how you like to be spoken to. What you're telling me is how I must think about you and how I must speak to everyone else in the world when I refer to you. You might think it's okay to control me in that way. You may think that you have a good justification for doing so. But at the very least, let's be honest about what you're doing, because that's how I like to be spoken to.
Well done, mate. Well done. Oh, Amy Mack said, welcome to the Islamic State of Germany. German courts rule the Sharia police are not against the law and can patrol Germany's streets. Sharia police provoke, intimidate and force their ideology upon others while harassing women, gays, Jews, etc. Meanwhile, Germany supports them. Yeah, that's what they do. See? That's what happens. Slippery slope. And every time someone says slippery slope, people used to go, oh, yeah, slippery slope. Yeah, because it is. Okay? It really is. You can't have open borders, mate. Unfortunately, you can't. Okay. Big Bird said, really? Governor Gavin Newsom signs bill reducing penalties for sodomy with minors. Dear God. Can anyone recommend a good lawyer in or around Sydney that's willing to take on YouTube and that? Oh dear. Ed Krasenstein and Brian Krasenstein said Jeffrey Epstein's business records, phone logs, visitor logs and black book should be 100% public, only with redactions for victims' names and numbers. And everyone should view that list without political goggles on. Who agrees? I agree, fully. Let's have it all. Again, Bridget Gabriel said Jeffrey Epstein's black book should be 100% public. And Rogan O'Hanley said, remember when Biden got the Ukrainian prosecutor fired for investigating Hunter and Burisma? Well, on December 27th, the US VI AG filed a lawsuit against JP Morgan for helping Jeffrey Epstein. Biden flew to the Virgin Islands and the AG was fired days later. What a coincidence. Who's surprised? If the prosecutor is not fired, you're not getting the money. Remember this?
And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time. Was supposed to announce that.
Yeah, solid for Biden. Quid pro quo, exactly. Julian Assange has served more time in prison than the whole Jeffrey Epstein's client list put together. His crime? Exposing the criminals. He's why we know about the emails from Podesta and Clintons and all that. Honestly, He's one of the biggest reasons we know about this. Chuck Costello said, bombshell report, US Virgin Island AG Attorney General Denise George terminated just days after filing suit against JP Morgan, which we know. And just FYI, the Bidens spent the holidays in the Virgin Islands. We know what they were doing. Son of a bitch if you don't fire him, you know. Independent journalism at its finest, brought to you by Twitter 2.0. Nice find, dude. Biden gets emphatically denied. Trump-appointed judge delivers crushing blow to Biden. What's this one about? The tech companies. The tech company thing. Okay. So Biden is getting, he's ordered them to hand over communications, which we know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Oh, hang on. No, one more. Before I go, Elon Musk said, hope you're having a great day, the first day of 2023, which is second or third day now, depending on where you are. One thing's for sure, it won't be boring. I have a feeling a lot more files are going to come out. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of this down below. Hope you have a good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, guys, bye.